Hey everybody, welcome back to Wiki Good Sports. This is At the Buzzer, and I'm joined as always by Ryan Flint. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Brad. Thanks for asking.
Very excited to talk about the Celtics winning the
Hmm.
series. Gave us a little trouble there. Let's be honest. There's some
Yeah.
sweating it out
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
along the way, and
Absolutely.
credit to the Hawks for not laying over and dying in game.
Mhm.
Like they played us hard, and
They did. Yeah.
they probably punched above
Mhm.
their weight a little bit, and maybe the Celtics
Mhm.
played a little down. Um, but I guess 1,000 foot view. What are your opinions on the series? What you see out there? Major storylines. Just you have the floor.
Yeah. So, like you said, the Hawks definitely kind of played above their weight. But that being said, they're a very talented team, right? Um, we know Trey for all his flaws. We saw what he can do when he gets going.
Yeah, Game 5, which Jack was
Hmm.
at. He got to watch just an amazing game by him.
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Of course, I didn't love the way we were defending him. Um, it almost seemed like we were trying to egg him on to, kind of be his own worst enemy and just take poor shots, which that can work to a degree, but you saw what happens when you guys aren't hitting your shots and he catches fire. And, like I said, they have a lot of good role players. Like, I thought Okongwu had some cool plays here and there. DeAndre Hunter had some big games and shots. Bogdanovich, like they just have they run deeper than you would think, but obviously pretty poor on the defensive side. I personally thought the last game, I thought they played well, but specifically the second half, Trey was sure enough, Trey did become his worst enemy and he shot terribly in the second half. I thought the Celtics actually overall played really well. Defensively, you could argue, they weren't necessarily up to par the whole game. But I think especially like, Tatum and Brown were both as good as as you could expect them to be in that game. And at the end, I mean, those two, Horford and Smart specifically, and White even, and those guys have been together for a bit. Those guys all had huge moments, specifically at the end of the game. And I really think that speaks to just the value of when, you got to go through this together as a team a couple times, and these guys are earning their bruises. And maybe it was a little ugly. I do think also the reffing was pretty bad that game. I'm not one to usually say that, but like Trey was just like there was multiple times Trey should have been called for a foul both on offense and defense, and he wasn't. And he was pretty much getting anything.
Yeah, so I actually want to definitely give a shout out to Derek White in this series, and I just want to get your opinion on how big of an addition was he at, obviously we got him last year
Oh
at the
yeah.
trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of had, like an off season and a full season now with the
Mm-hmm.
Celtics. And how important is, a player like that to the Celtics success?
Oh, I mean, it's indescribably huge. I mean, he definitely is still one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and the fact that we have him and Brogdon on the bench and they're able to handle that well is like just, because they buy into the team. It says everything. I mean, we all saw when Derek, we were all a little kind of thrown off by the Derek White trade. It just seemed odd when you already had like Smart and people were kind of thinking, hey, maybe we need more depth, like Big Wise or something like that. But Derek, you saw that team like pivot immediately. Like, for sure there's a lot of other things that happened as well. But like, when Derek White stepped onto the floor, he fit right in. You know, and I mean, out of nowhere, he became a good shooter, which was his one concern at first. And I mean, I think this year, there's a lot of nights, it all fluctuates, but sometimes, if Smart's struggling, if Brogdon, whoever, I mean, Brogdon's pretty consistent, to be honest. Like, Brown, Tatum, they're short, like, White has been like, has just been so reliable. And I mean, in ways we wouldn't have even thought, like, right? We know he's a smart, connective player. He can make the right pass. We know that he can get to the rim here and there, but like I said, like the scoring, just he's one of the best he's probably the best shot blocking guard in the NBA. I mean, there's just so much to him. And like I said, the fact that you have him and Brogdon, and they can just like they can pretty much initiate the offense on a lot of plays and give Brown and Tatum breaks. That's massive. Very few teams in NBA history, I think, have the depth that we have in that regard.
No, definitely. So let's look forward a little bit because the
Sure.
playoffs in the NBA are a little wonky. Where Ryan had to explain to me. I was like, "Wait, so we're playing the Heat next?" He's like, "No, this is not how it works.
No,
We're playing the 76ers."
thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Honestly, yeah, playoff Jimmy's on a tear right now. We're recording this right after the Heat won their
Mhm.
first game against the Knicks. So the 76ers, they swept the Nets. However, Joel Embiid is banged up and potentially might miss the first. Almost
Mhm.
certainly, he's going to miss the first game. I've heard potentially even the second game. So, Ryan, going into this series, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, as an NBA overall NBA fan, that's pretty disappointing because I'm thinking about it like the Sixers have won games in the regular season without him, right? We know like James Harden isn't quite what he once was as a driving offensive force,
Yeah,
he's still
still
got
there.
he's still got, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve and Tyrese Maxey, but I just looking at it, there's got to be no way that they can stand any sort of chance with the amount of talent that the Celtics have without Embiid. And a lot of what does tend to throw Tatum off with the Sixers at first, even though we match up very well against them, could be like, he kind of seems to sometimes struggle with like teams that like funnel through a big guy. Like we've seen it with him, we've seen it with Bam in the Heat. So yeah, I just think they have like no shot without Embiid, unfortunately. And honestly, if it's 2 games, I can't imagine them having much of a chance. I don't I don't want to say I'm under like I'm trying to explain it. The Philadelphia 76ers obviously have been a really good team this year. I just think they're that was the best matchup we could ask for. I just think we match up well against them. Um, I personally have never seen enough from Embiid or even like Harden to know that they're like super viable in the playoffs.
I mean that is the knock against Harden,
Oh,
especially, right?
always.
So
Yeah,
just
Embiid has
yeah,
never really done anything in the playoffs, and this is his team's second time. And I mean, they lost. I mean, given they lost the Heat last year, but like,
yeah, and he was hurt going into that too. He got like his
mhm.
eye fractured, so he can't really catch a break coming into these playoffs for him.
No, and I mean injuries have always been. I mean, he misses. He's one of
Right,
those
he missed
players
his
who misses
first
rookie
2
year.
years,
Yeah.
yeah. Like you said, as a fan of basketball, not great. No one wants to see this, and I know I've seen rather the injury that he has. People are saying, "Oh, this is regular season. He might be out like weeks." So, not
Mhm.
ideal. Even if he does come back for game 2 or
No,
3.
definitely not.
I mean, obviously that's a big consideration, but for the clip here, what are the keys for the Celtics to win this series against the 76ers?
I just think like not playing to the 76ers pace, right? We know that they do really well against the 76ers when they speed up the pace. They make it a full court game. They operate in transition a lot. Um, I'd say that. I would say also it's going to be tough because the biggest thing is once Embiid comes into play, it's a lot of the the foul play trouble, and that could just. I haven't seen it before, but like we could see it like Grant, Smart, like it can just be very frustrating to play against Embiid, right? I don't know. We saw the shenanigans that happened in the last series with like, you know, Claxton stepping over him throwing Claxton on the floor, Embiid actually hurting himself from just flopping so much as like a giant 7-footer. Um, so yeah, I was just saying, just not getting caught up in that stuff and arguing with the refs, and I think a lot of coaching as well. Just making the right calls for timeouts, adjustments, the rotations. I think in general a big thing, and right. I love Marcus Smart. I do think that when you have Derek White and Brogdon, um, I don't really think there's a need to have Marcus Smart bring up the ball in like the last 10 seconds of the game, right? Like Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon have just proven to be in that regard as like ball handlers for that point in the game. I think you put him in the hands of them. I know that Marcus Smart is a point guard, right? he's an incredible defender and also an incredible offensive player. I mean, he's really versatile and very impressed from his last game. But I think that's what I just think it's little adjustments like that, just playing to everyone's strengths. And again, we got to see. We really got to make sure we'll see how Tatum perform. I think he's gonna. I think after the last game, I'm thinking he's gonna do pretty good in this one. But we just would like to see consistency from him.
Absolutely. So we'll see. Obviously, we'll be covering it this week as the games go on. We got a game on Monday and a game on Wednesday. So maybe we'll come back around Thursday, give a little update, see what's happening there. All right. Anything else you wanted to mention about this series that we didn't get to yet?
Um, Not particularly. Although I will say, like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm wondering if like I'll obviously watch it, right? And I'll be really into it. But like if you're not a Celtics fan or a Philly fan, I don't without Embiid, we'll see if it's like gonna be even exciting. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Like I said, they have had a week of rest, right? I think even over a week. So that can be an advantage. So yeah, we'll see how it fleshes out. I'll say I think the Celtics will win in 6.
All right. So we will see if that holds true. And yeah, it's going to be like 9 days off by the time the 76ers play this tomorrow. So a good rest for them, a team that seemingly needs it. So
Yeah,
other than
absolutely.
that, Ryan, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome, Brian. Been a pleasure as always.
Absolutely. And if you like it, please subscribe. We have sports videos almost every single day of the week. And you can find us online and other places at Wicked Good Sports. We will see you in the next one.